beat around the bush, and I don't wanna push, but you're making this hard. I know something's going on. There's dishes in the sink and trash in the front yard. Tell me, what can I do? Do I go for a walk? Should I stay with you? I'm tired of sitting on my hands, watching what I love wilt like a houseplant.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is Kaladin, and I'm Brie, and welcome back to another reading vlog. So, I've been having a lot of health issues. If you don't know, if you're new here, I have a chronic illness. I have endometriosis, and I have been dealing with that for a long time, and I got diagnosed recently. And this past week, it's just been a lot of medical things. For a while I was okay, but then now it's been getting worse again. And so I've had to do a lot of just tests. We've been doing a couple different tests, and then this weekend I'm supposed to go up for baby shower for my sister-in-law, and unfortunately I ended up having a test that we are then trying a lot of different medications and stuff like that to try to help me, just different things that I'm trying to do, and it's a lot, and I don't know how I'm going to react to things. And I just also got some like hard news from the doctor and potentially like another surgery at some point, so I'm just feeling a lot of things right now. And so I need a reading vlog to distract me from the fact that we're not going up, and that I'm also like potentially getting sick this weekend, and trying not to think about that because it does make me anxious. And so I'm just trying to have a distraction. So we are doing a reading vlog. I put on my favorite dress, just feel pretty and feel good. My husband Noah and I went to the bookstore and got some books, and I definitely have like way broken my book buying ban. But you know, life is throwing curveballs right now, and if the joy in my life is to buy some books and we can afford it, I'm gonna do it. So I'm not gonna feel bad about it. I just really need to like not feel guilt about this thing, because there's so many other things in my life right now that are going on. So I ended up getting how many books? 7 books. And I'm actually kind of proud of myself with the 7 I got, because, well, I say 7. One of them was Noah's, but it's like also mine, kind of. We're both excited about it, so it's not really like it counts, right? So really like 6 books, but they're all, except for like one, maybe, yeah, one that weren't on my radar or weren't authors I read before, things like that. So I really stuck to 2 anticipated releases, and then books that I have read from the author before or want to continue in a series or things like that. So let's just show you the books, shall we? So I finally picked up Lost in the Moment and Found by Seanan McGuire. This is the 7th in the Wayward Children's series. Is it the 8th? I can't remember. I have the one before this to read, and then this one, and I've heard this one is some of people's favorites now. It's like a really, really good one, though I heard it's a bit harder to read. I really have been excited to get to this. It's one of my favorite series of last year, and so I've definitely been anticipating this. I just haven't gone to Barnes & Noble because I knew that I would have an issue, and I did, so I know myself too well. So then the other anticipated release I got was A Tempest at Sea by Sherry Thomas. This is, I think, the 6th one in the Lady Sherlock series, and it's a series that the first couple ones, there were things that I just didn't love about it, but those things kind of lessened, and the series grew on me the more I read. And this one is kind of ending. This series like kind of has an overarching plot, and more so than other historical mysteries I've read. And this one is kind of going to be, I think, way bigger into that plot. So I am very interested in it, and it came out, I think, in last month. And so I can't wait to get to it, because it's just one I've been wanting to get to. So then I finally got the next book in the Conductors. It's called Murder and Magic, the series. I read the Conductors I think in February, and I loved it. It's probably one of my favorite books of the year so far. I just really loved the magic system. I liked Hetty and Benji, and just like their relationship and the way that the characters were built, and like the friendships and the complexity of everything, I just thought was so good. I think Nicole Glover did just such an amazing job. So this is the next one in the series. It's the second. It's called The Undertakers, and they're kind of like, their own mysteries wrapped up. So at least the first one was. So I'm really excited for this one to see where it goes, because I really have no idea like what the next mystery will be. And I've heard that there's supposed to be 4 books at least in this series, and I don't know when the next one will come out, but I know I will be patiently waiting. Oh, that's cute. The dedication is for every kid who has their library card number memorized. I love that. So super excited to pick this one up because I've been really wanting to read the next one in the series. I just didn't have it. And then I got Witchmark by C.L. Polk. I read The Midnight Bargain by them for the Transwrite Readathon in March. And then, was that March? The time's blurring together. And then, it was March. And then the beginning of this month, I read their novella, Even Though I Knew the End. And that one was like, the first one, Midnight Bargain, is like a fantasy romance type book. And then the novella was a like fantasy mystery historical, though the historical elements to me were very like small, and I really liked both of them. Loved The Midnight Bargain, one of my new favorite books of the year as well. And then I really liked the novella. I just wish it was a little longer because I just wanted to be with those characters more, and I think just like a bit more time with them and I would have like really loved it. So I definitely got their next, this is their actual like their first series that they ever made, and it's reminiscent of Edwardian England, and I really don't know much about it except for that they write a lot of historical fantasies and mysteries and just like historical fantasy, really. And I love 2 of their works, so I was like, yeah, we're gonna go with this series because I really like reading if I really like a writer, I like reading all of their backlists, so I'm very excited about that one. And then I picked up, because there was buy one, get one 50% off. And you know I'm a sucker for that. And I have seen this one around. This is A Marvelous Light by Freya Marskia. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. And this one I've seen as like a cozy fantasy, and it's historical, right? Am I wrong about that? I think it's historical. I don't know. It's a fantasy romance, and I've just seen it for the cozy fantasy, and it is a relationship between 2 men, and that's really all I know, is that there's something, and there's some kind of mystery. I really honestly don't know much about it, but I've only seen like good reviews on this book, and so I'm like, if I'm liking fantasy and I'm liking fantasy romance and all that cozy fantasy, like why am I not reading this, you know? So I got it. But also, for the other part of the 50% off, I saw this on the table, and it was on one of their tables, and next to it was the Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which is like one of my favorite books of this year as well. And then the Monsters We Defy by Leslie Penelope, and that one is also one that I really enjoyed, and both were historical fantasy, kind of different vibes, but this one was like next to it, so they were trying to say like these are similar, and I was like, sign me up. So this is The Fairy Bargain of Prospect Hill by Rowena Miller. Literally know nothing about this, not a thing. I read the back. I don't know if I absorbed it, but I was like, yeah, a deftly spun tale of folklore and sisterhood. On Prospect Hill, you can get nearly anything you want from the Fae, if you know how to ask and if you can pay the price. And it's something about a woman paying the price, something about her husband not being the man she thought he was, and stuff like that. And it has all these people that I enjoy. Leslie Penelope put brimming with folk magic and sinful, delightfully sinister hidden worlds. And then H.G. Perry, which is another person I have a book from, a warm-hearted yet fierce fairy tale. So I saw it, I collected it, and I got buy one get one 50% off. I'm not mad about it because I've been reading through like the fantasies now that I've like really found my niche in fantasy. I'm addicted, so I've ran out of a lot of stuff to read that I've been in the mood for, because I'm definitely a mood reader, and so I have some like darker fantasies, but I've ran out of my like lighter fantasies. And with this illness and everything I've been going through, I've really been just gravitating towards lighter reads. Like anything too dark, it's just like I can't handle it right now. So that's what I picked up. And then the final book I picked up, which is like my husband really wanted it, but then I also really liked it. It's called Irish Folktales, and it's 125 magnificent folktales collected from anthologies and journals published from the mid-19th century to the present day. And it's just, yeah, a bunch of folktales. They have a bunch of different ones, so I would love to like collect them later and I just think they're so pretty. So we're gonna keep it out in our living room, and I want to read through the stories just here and there. But I've always loved Irish folk tales and stuff. So yeah, that's this one. Very excited. I also forgot to mention I had a gift card, so like half of these don't count, right? Yeah, so those are the books I got, and for this reading vlog, I tried to pick up a book yesterday and start it, and I just really wasn't into it. It's nothing about the book. I guess it wasn't the mood. But I feel like one of these are the mood. I'm between these two. But this one is probably going to be a little darker, and I just feel like I need to go with a little bit lighter. Because truly, like, I'm not well, so. But this one too. I think I'm gonna try to read these too. Did I mention I have 4 days off of work? Things are running together in this brain, let me tell you. So I have 4 days that I'll be just chilling and seeing if medicine makes me feel ill. And just, seeing how it goes. So I have 4 days to make a vlog where I can do nothing but read if I want to. So I think these two are the picks for now. I'm gonna try a chapter of each, I think, potentially, and see which one I want. I think it's the hunger setting in. The words aren't working because I need to eat. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have lunch, and I will check back in a little bit when I've read and decided other things. I don't know. I gotta go.
Do you feel alone in our home? 'Cause I feel alone in our home. Seems like just the other day I'd see your face and know what to say. Now I'm staring at the ground, stepping over eggshells spread all around. So tell me, what can I do? Do I tiptoe around to pick up a broom? Can we sweep up this mess, or did we make a minefield out of our dress?
Hello, it's a bit later. I don't know if you can see. Let's turn you. This is what I got snuggling with me right now. Yeah. Hi. He is just like fast asleep and taking up the entire couch. I wanted to check in because I have got to 50 pages in Witchmark, yeah, by C.L. Polk, and I am really enjoying it so far, but it's darker than I thought it was. I was like trying to go for cozy historical fantasy, and I really didn't read the back at all. It has a lot to do with war, so it's a bit heavier, but sorry, the lighting just went really dark in here. I am also like super sucked in just right away. I think the opening is basically that there's this Dr. Miles, and he is like working in a hospital where there's a war and it just ended, so a lot of soldiers are about to come home, and basically he's gotten a notice that the patients that he has need to leave to make room for the people coming home from the war who are going to need help, and that really doesn't sit well with him, and he's like about to leave for the end of the day after getting this news, and this guy in a carriage comes up with another guy who is like about to die and asks for their help, and then this man who's dying is saying a lot of things that don't really make a lot of sense, but make Dr. Miles, worried because they like call him by his old name, and then that man ends up dying, and the man he's with who brought him saw him do magic and then talks to him in private. And I think in this world, if you do magic, that you're not part of like the sanctioned people who can, you like get put in an asylum. That part's still a little like not fully understand right now. I mean, I'm only on 40 pages, so he basically takes him into his office and expects the guy to like either turn him in or like demand and like have like try to, what's the word, extortion, like stuff like that. And then actually the man says that he wants to solve what happened to that guy, and he also has magic, and so he wants them to work together and figure out what's going on. Miles is hesitant because he has like run away from his old life, and so you're starting to figure out that the reason he changed his name was he was running away from something. And then literally the chapter I just ended is he goes to this like doctor event, and his sister sees him and finds him, and so now he's like found out, so his freedom is like gonna end, and so we don't know what's gonna happen, but from what like you can tell, it's like there are big consequences to this. So I'm super intrigued. I was like sucked right in when I started reading. C.L. Polk has this like writing style that really just draws me in right away, and it's not overly flowery or anything, but I just feel like I'm in this world like right away, even though there's not a lot of description of like the places around. It just feels so vivid to me. So I'm really liking it, and it's heavier than I thought it was going to be, but I feel like the story is so intriguing. So that's what I've been reading, and I've been snuggling with my Pippi, just hanging out. So that's my little update. I don't know what my plans are for the rest of the day, but probably reading more, and we'll see. Hello. I hope you can't hear the dryer, but I feel like I'm always drying my laundry while I'm trying to record. So we just did our taxes, the most fun thing in the world. And so now Noah and I, sorry, I'm on my laptop trying to get Discord up, have been doing this thing where we play this game. I don't know if I told you about it in my last reading vlog, but it's this like board game that's about birds, and you're trying to like lay eggs and gather birds and stuff, and it's really fun. But they have a online version, so on Steam you can get it, and you can also get it on the Switch, and it actually lets you play cross-platform. So I have a Switch, but my husband has a like computer. He does a lot of gaming, and so it's hard for us to play some games together because I don't have a computer to do that. But we've been able to play this together, and it's a lot of fun. I sit down here because then I can play it on the TV, and it's a little easier to see than on like the small Switch screen because there's kind of a lot of things. I will say it's harder to play on the Switch than it is on the computer, but we can play against each other, and then we call each other on Discord because he's all the way upstairs, and even though we're in the same house, we talk to each other on Discord, and we play this game together, and it's just been really, really fun. So that's what we're going to be doing because we both got stressed out with taxes, and now we're just like, we need to decompress. So that's the plan. So I'll show you the game on the TV when I load it up because it's really cute. Hello. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Screen, so this is Wingspan. Okay, I'll just try to do it from down here. Sorry if this wobbles. I'm trying to show you the screen while I sit down below. But we just play online, and then I can like just add people with a custom game, and then you can add the people you want. So with whatever their name is on the game, you can add them. So this is the game, and it's super cute, and I can't remember how I saw the board the last time.
You have to wait until after the pictures.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's just like got these birds, and then there's a play mat, and it's just a really fun game, and you should look it up and see how to play.
Do you feel alone in our home? 'Cause I feel alone in our home.
Good morning. Good morning. It's now Monday. I apologize for the lighting. It is very rainy out today. I did not really vlog at all because I got extremely sick on Sunday morning around 4 a.m. to like 7 a.m. So yesterday was a in bed, literally couldn't do anything. I tried to go to the kitchen because Noah was going to make us mashed potatoes, and we make it in an Instant Pot, and he was out getting a prescription for me. And so I tried to pick up the Instant Pot, and I literally got woozy. So it was like a truly do nothing day. So here we are. It's Monday. I'm feeling much better today. So I'm going to try to get some reading in and just relax because I have 2 more days left off of work now, and I just want to relax. I want to read and just not worry about a bunch of things. So that's what we're doing. And I'm sorry if my brain's like mush. That's another side effect. I get like very bad brain fog. So I feel that I'm in that today. But you know, we're gonna make the best of it. And let me talk to you. Oh, I forgot. Kaladin stole my bookmark. So I think I was on like 100 and... Okay, I think I was at 118. Based on just flipping through. So I've gotten decently far into it. I would say I definitely like the Midnight Bargain more by them. It's their like later work. So it makes sense that this, as being like their first published work, isn't going to be like my top favorite one. But I am really having a good time. I feel like the thing I like about this one is there's like a mystery aspect to it. The Midnight Bargain didn't have quite as much mystery. It was just more of a like romance fantasy plot, and it had a lot to do with like feminism and stuff. And this one, it's a lot to do about war, but it's also got magic, and there's like a person has been murdered, so it's like figuring out what's going on and all these connections. And so I'm always a fan of a mystery in a book, so that's why I am really liking this, and I enjoy just the writing and the characters so far. I think C.L. Polk like really pulls me into the world. This is like reminiscent of Edwardian England, but if you're someone who really like need your historical fantasy mysteries, whatever, to be like way more accurate, I wouldn't say that you might not like this, because I do feel like they're taking a lot of like liberties with like how things are, how they talk, or how they like what they have and do. But I really enjoy that about a book. To me, it like a historical book almost feels like fantasy to me, because like I didn't live in that time period, so it just feels like another world. So like I don't have a ton of rules for it. It's only if it gets like to the extreme where I'm like, I can't believe that this is historical really at all, then I have more problems with it. But I don't feel that about this. So I'm having a good time, and I want to finish it today. I feel like I could if I really just read, because I am really liking it. I feel like I'm sucked in, but just my attention span was not with it yesterday, and like holding up a book was not the thing. So, you know, you can only get so much reading done then. And yeah, so that's my plan today. Noah's home today, but he has to work tomorrow and go in for a little bit. So we're just gonna relax. I think I might try to convince him to play Mexican Train Car with me, because that's a good game we play together. And yeah, just hang out. Maybe we'll play another game of Wingspan. We've been doing that. I'm really liking it. So I don't know if I had more to tell you, but I think that's all. And Pippi has been going crazy. He has been loving having us home. He's like a little shadow. Hi, Pippi. Yeah, you hanging out with me? Follows me around. Or Noah. Just whichever one's available. So yeah, the plan is to finish this, and then check back in and just show you what I'm doing with my day. So it's probably sitting on the couch and reading. I was gonna rearrange.
Your books?
Yeah. I decided. Okay, I think I was I was just looking at this, and I feel like I was doing a favorite shelf, but then there's ones that aren't my absolute favorites, and then ones that like are, but I kind of mix them all in, because I'm like, I can't. It's hard for me to differentiate. You know?
Sure.
I don't know. It's hard to describe it, what this brain is doing.
It just doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right. That's the main gist. So I was thinking of doing maybe like, I don't have enough, but like doing a cozy like section, and then doing maybe like mysteries type things. But then Pepe, that's his hand.
No,
But then maybe up here doing like my historical fantasies because I do have like a good amount of those.
Okay.
And then I had like these were like ones I really loved, like thriller or horror.
Uh-huh.
But I have horror here, so maybe I just move them all like here because actually, like even though these are thriller, I feel like they're more horror because they have like paranormal. And then I just have to move this one.
Okay.
And then this be like fantasies, historical, like maybe cozy to historical, and then this could be like, or maybe it's this shelf, but then do like the others. You know, I just I want to see.
Okay. It doesn't feel right, and you're looking for what feels right.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have to know what that is. Okay.
Gonna find out.
Mm-hmm. Well, while you do that.
Oh.
What?
I was gonna say, do you want to help me?
No.
No.
How can I help you?
I don't know, moral support.
When you're lost and no one's there, and you wonder who even cares. Whoa. Come back to your breath, don't drift away from me.
I feel like
I will
no.
come down to
He just has to help
remind
with
you
every
of
project.
before.
Um,
We can fly away from here. We can stay close, my dear. Swept up and away from all our fears. How are we supposed to know on our own? Together we can go slow. Why don't you leave it all to me? I know how hard it all can be. I'm here to hold your hand through this. Whoa, I'll be beside you all alone. My love for you is so strong. We're right where we belong. Wander around the same old town.
hello. We set up on the computer, so. Hello. It is a bit later. I've been doing some reading sprints to help me get through this because I don't know about you, but I've been so distracted by my phone lately, and I've been really wanting to read, but just reading has been a struggle because my attention span has been like nothing, and so it's been really frustrating. So the reading sprints have really been helping me. I just decided to try that today, and I started on like about here, and I've gotten this far, and I've only been doing read sprints for like maybe 2 hours, maybe. So yeah, really helpful. I'm about 100, I'm actually 100 pages to the end, so I'm gonna try to power through and finish it, but I did want to give some thoughts before I finish. So I feel like this, like, in the last like chapter really is when like things started getting crazy. And then the middle, I just feel like overall it's a little bit I don't know if I should say slower pace, but the mystery side is like slower moving than anything else, and it's a lot about Miles and like his backstory and how it's all connected to a lot of things. And I just realized that this is a trilogy, so it makes sense if we're like building to a grand reveal that's then gonna be in the next books. But I just think I don't enjoy this quite as much as like the Midnight Bargain. I think that there are like things that I think Seal Folk they improved in their writing over the years, and I'm a fan of like what they've been producing now. But it's just like the plot is a little weaker. I think the other book was more of a romance, so maybe it didn't need as strong of a plot. Where this I feel like needs a little bit of stronger plot, though there is a romance in it as well. It's like a series I would continue, and I'm enjoying it, but it's not blowing me away, if that makes sense. I enjoy Miles as a character. I think that there's this like whole dynamic of him being a doctor and helping patients who have been in war, and also being in war himself and like understanding that side of things, and just trying to help the people who need it, but then being pressured to like push patients out because more patients need to come in, and just that whole like issue, I think is really interesting to read about. And I don't know, I think like I'm intrigued by the magic system. I'm still a little confused, but I feel like it's because they're giving you like snippets throughout the story, and it's like now starting to make more sense. So it's not like info dumped at the beginning of how the magic system works. You kind of have to figure it out throughout the book. And I like that, but it does make it a little bit confusing. But I actually think I prefer this way of like learning about the system, as long as it's not too vague, than like the info dump at the beginning, because sometimes that can feel like too much and then I don't grasp it. So that being said, I'm going to keep reading and I will let you know my final thoughts in a little bit.
Your best kept secrets underground. Oh. Your hand on my chest, my heart beats for you. I keep my arms out and hold you like before. We can fly away from here. We can stay close, my dear. Swept up in the way from all our fears. How are we supposed to know on our own? Together we can go slow. Why don't you leave it all to me? I know how hard it all can be. I'm here to hold your hand through this. Oh, oh. I'll be beside you all along. My love for you is so strong. We're right where we belong. Together we can go slow.
Hello, welcome to Tuesday. I have my little Pippi pants snuggled up. Oh, I can't see them. So it's Tuesday. I tried the like hair thing that is like a bandana and it's cotton and then you wrap your hair around it, and I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. I did it when my hair was wet this time, and it came out like curlier, but I think I need like styling stuff. I don't know. And I also was kind of sloppy with it, so it is what it is. But it makes me feel like I tried a little bit, so that's nice. So update, I finished Witchmark last night, and I think my overall feelings are just, it was okay. I feel like there was a lot of things I just didn't love or didn't hate. I just felt overall like okay about everything. I don't think it was bad, but I don't think it was necessarily my favorite or very like something I'll remember very much. Overall, happy I read it, and I will continue the series, but just okay. And then last night I started it, and I haven't really read that much, but I'm on like 18 pages of Great Reservations, and I was gonna save this because we have a family trip planned in July, and I was gonna save it for like traveling because I thought it would be a good summer traveling book. But I just really wanted to get to this. One of you recommended it to me in my Things I Love in Books video, and so I had picked it up, and I just hadn't picked it up yet because I felt like it was like a summer springtime book. So I'm really happy I'm getting to it, and so far I'm enjoying it. It's basically this travel agent. She is talking to, at the beginning, this guy on the phone, and she says that she rescheduled him, and he's arguing why she would reschedule his flight, and he ends up missing his flight because of traffic as well. And so he's upset with her, but then kind of is like, well, I was gonna miss it anyway. And she just couldn't explain, but she had a feeling that he just shouldn't be on this plane, and so she changed the tickets on him. And then as he's there and they're on the phone, the plane catches fire. But then now I think I just got to a part where I think he's walking into the shop to talk to her about stuff, and supposedly he's supposed to be a cop that I think is going to use her to help with investigations because he thinks she's psychic, and she basically has explained that she just gets like feelings about things and she's learned to listen to them. I'm liking it. I feel like the writing so far, I can tell this author's written a lot of books. Like they always give you the list of what they've also written, and this is how many books she's also written. So it's mostly fantasy and some horror, but she has a writing that you can tell she just has a lot of experience writing. It's not very clunky and it's just very easy to read. I wouldn't say it's like as fun to me right yet at Finley Donovan, but it's giving me good vibes, and it's like filling that gap in my reading that I really wanted that Finley Donovan gave me, which is like a funny, over the top kind of mystery. So yeah, excited to continue reading this today. It's not very long. It's like 280 pages. So hoping to fly through it because I do feel like once I pick it up, it reads pretty quickly. So yeah, those are my initial thoughts. I really don't have too much because I'm only on 18 pages, but I wanted to give you an update. So I have the rest of the day to just read and do some recording probably of videos and stuff like that. Hello. I am here because I realized I never wrapped up the reading vlog and I needed to do that. So I never gave final thoughts on Grave Reservations. I really did enjoy this. I think not quite to the level of Finley Donovan. It had humor, but it wasn't over the top. I think it was more subtle humor, but I did have fun with it. I think the mystery itself was a little predictable, but I enjoyed the characters, and I always really enjoy like a paranormal aspect almost. I don't know if that's what you would call it, but you know, the psychic abilities, I really enjoy that in it. I just think having something magical or something fantasy, paranormal, whatever it is, historical to my mysteries just adds more intrigue to me than just your standard mystery. So I had fun with this. I think this is a great like road trip book. I want to get the next one and I want to read it for my trip because it's just one that's very readable and it's very like fun. I could see myself reading this on the beach or on a flight or something like that. Though the next one's called Flight Risk, so if it has to do with a plane crashing, maybe I shouldn't read it on the plane. I'll have to look into that. But like it's just fun. And they're like a duo, and I don't think that the cop stuff was like over the top because I'm not big into like detective. No, that's not the right word. I'm into detective stuff. I'm not into like police procedurals, and I didn't feel like we got too much of like how a crime scene's working or things like that. It was just much more of them kind of still feeling like a sleuthing duo, which is like my favorite kind. So that was fun. And I like the friends in here. It definitely has that cozy feeling of friends that are very close and you know that they're not going to be the ones involved. They're just here to like add to the coziness and ambiance of the story. So I really had a good time. And I would recommend it if you're looking for something that is a cozier mystery series. I thought it was fun. And there's 2 out, so it's not like you'd have to spend a long time catching up. And you could kind of like read along with the series because I know sometimes with cozies, like there's just so many out and I don't want to, it's overwhelming to have to read like the whole backlist and then there's like 35 out. This one has only got 2 out so far, so I think that it would be a good one to start with. So yeah, in this reading vlog, I read The Witch Mark by C.L. Polk, and I really think it was like a good debut, but I do like The Midnight Market, and even though I knew the end more, so I wouldn't recommend starting with this one if you're looking to get into C.L. Polk. I don't know. I just think it was a weaker one overall. And if I didn't love the author as much, I don't think I would have liked this. And if this was my first introduction to C.L. Polk, I think I might have been weary to continue. But the stuff that they're putting out now is just really good. And I can see all the improvements. And then this one, I would say I liked it. I'm bordering between like liked and loved it. Because I don't think it had quite the spark that I was looking for. But it was still a fun, good read. And like, yeah, it's a mid-range for me. So I would say I liked it, and I think it's a good travel book to read. Though, again, maybe don't read this on a plane, because this one also has to do with a plane crashing at the beginning. But if you read that after your flight and just read it on vacation, then I think you'd be fine. So it just feels like a beach read to me, is all I'm trying to say. So yeah, I had fun. I read these two, and it was like a nice time off from work. Getting 4 days off was great, even though I got really sick. It was just nice to be home, and I wish I could have gone to the baby shower, but you know, life hits ya. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap the vlog up here, but thank you for watching, and Pippi and I will see you next time.